Let's talk some sports, baby.
Taken by Iguodala. Iguodala to Curry. Back to Iguodala. Up for the layup. Oh, blocked by Jones.
And remember, make tomorrow better than today, and make today better than yesterday. And you know what we gonna do. We gonna holler at you until next time, baby.
Well, after weeks of offers, counter-offers, and deliberations, Major League Baseball is officially back. Tuesday, the MLB invoked their right to impose a season as per the March agreement and set a 60-game schedule. The 2020 season will run from July 23rd or 24th to about September 27th, utilizing the current playoff format. Players will be receiving their full yet prorated salaries and may opt out of the season still, but will forego pay unless cleared by a doctor. The MLB will limit travel by having teams play in their four divisional opponents 10 times each, and their other 20 games will be interleague in the same geographical area. Rosters will be 30 players, trimming to 26 a month in, but teams will have as many as 60 players available to replace anyone who may test positive or become injured. Games will also look different with new safety protocols in place, the National League using a designated hitter, and extra innings will start with a runner on second base. So, Drink, with all that in mind, what stands out to you the most about the 2020 MLB season plan?
Play ball! Oh, no. Wrong. No? Y'all weren't feeling that?
All right, move on,
Y'all
Jay.
might-
Let's go.
I think it was appropriate.
Y'all might be feeling this. Take me out to the ball. No? We ain't feeling that? No? Not
You
that
can't
either?
you can't go to the ball game. It's not.
How many
no fans.
attention gainers do you have for this one?
I
He's
got
going.
a few.
Yeah, he's
I'm a walking attention gainer. I'm a
That's
walking
true.
attention gainer. You know what I'm saying? But no, you know what I'm saying? Let me speed it up here before, Jay get his gray hairs. Here's the deal. Commish. This for you, Rob. Big Rob. Everybody give it up for Big Rob over there. Big Rob Memphis. Listen, we got a season. We got a season because, the commissioner finally put his foot down. Enough's enough, He said, hey, you dudes out here flopping around, don't want to look. All right, let me insert my power and make it happen. Now we're going to have a season. It is what it is. I'm glad that we're going to have baseball, though. I'm going to tell you this. It's not one of my favorite sports, but what I don't want to see is for any sport to not have a season, because we, like you always tell us, Cody, it's going to affect 21, it's going to affect 22, and so forth. So I want these guys to be able to play. I'm glad they're going to be able to play. Unfortunately, you will be playing against the other sports. Good luck with that viewership. But at least they're going to be able to play. These players are going to get paid. The owner's going to do what they do, and we're going to get some baseball. But enough about that. Jay, please tell these people some stuff they want to hear about this baseball stuff.
Yeah, one of the things I'm looking at is after failed negotiations, this was where Rob Manfred had a right as a commissioner to jump in and say, okay, this is what we're doing. Well, negotiations have failed for months. I don't know when, was it the fifth round of offers, counter offers? That when you get to say that this is what we're going to do? I'm just a little confused on that. Maybe someone can help me out. Maybe not. But anyways, yeah, it's great that we got baseball back. The scheduling aspect of it, I think there is some interest there. Only division games and interleague games. So one of the interesting things is when you talk about teams that, and I'll get into this more in a bit, but your teams in the same league that you look at as contenders, Astros and Yankees, they won't meet until the playoffs if they see each other then. But you won't have those regular season matchups to size each other up. Dodgers Nationals, you won't have those type of matchups. There's many others that we could get into. But the sense of urgency, I would tell you, for these teams, there's been many times where a team has had a tough April. They could even have a tough May and get behind the eight ball, but they still have, the next 4 months to get it together. It's not going to be like this time. You got 60 games. You better be ready to go and utilize spring training to get ready. Every game's going to have a lot more meaning when you talk about 60 versus 162. I'm looking at things like days off, scheduled days off, where it seems like every time I turn on a game that, one of the star players is, sitting in the dugout eating sunflower seeds. I don't know, days off. I don't know about that, especially for these teams that think they're going to make the playoffs, even though there's expanded playoffs. But I don't know what the deal is with these scheduled days off. You got 60 games. I'd say, yeah. Oh, you want to sit down one time? Yeah. I mean, it is baseball. Like, we do get that. Like, it's not basketball where you're up and down the floor every minute, just nonstop action. It's not football where you're getting leveled, every other play. Um, it's a game I love, but when you talk about, in terms of the physical demands, I mean, you could go out on the field an entire game, standing there in left field, and you might get, one or two fly balls that come see you. And every pitch there's, dead action where you can just stand there and catch your breath. I just look. That's just a bigger picture days off thing. I don't really get it. So, but anyways, the scheduling thing where with these intra league matchups, you're not going to see each other until the playoffs. That's gonna have some effect come playoff time. National League is going to be implementing the designated hitter. It's going to be interesting to see how that'll work.
That's gonna be
I think it
interesting.
takes a little bit of strategy out of the National League manager's hands. They won't have to worry about pinch hitting here, lifting a pitcher here and there. You won't have to worry about that the pitcher spot in the lineup coming up where it's in a lot of cases it's an automatic out. Um, there still will be a trade at the deadline. Oh boy, can't wait for that. The roster sizes, I think we're up to. I'm looking at 60 guys. That's a lot. I guess that's just a number they determined with the coronavirus, and we'll see how that goes.
It's going to be 30 at the start of the season, and it'll trim to 28 2 weeks in, and 26 additional 2 weeks in. There's an additional 60-man taxi squad, they called it, of players that you can have to play in the major league games. It's like a separate second roster, sort of.
Got you. Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah, it's a little weird for me, but it seems hey, well, at least they finally figured it out. Good job, Rob. But hey, I just want to move forward. When we talk about favorites, let's actually look at what we're going to see when the season begins. And I just want to I think the favorites in both leagues, and I believe the odds makers have this as well. I'm looking at the Yankees and Dodgers. Two of the traditional powerhouses, at least in terms of, the Yankees haven't won a title since 2009, and the Dodgers, I believe the 1980s, last time they've raised a banner. But to me, there's really not much excuses. The Yankees' chief competitor lately has been the Houston Astros. We know Garrett Cole has taken his talents to the Big Apple. He'll be pitching for them this season. So that's a negative for Houston, a positive for the Yankees. The Yankees lineup, we know it's just stacked with power. When you look at Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, assuming he plays, Gary Sanchez, Gleyber Torres, DJ LeMahieu was a great signing for them last year that didn't get a lot of attention until he started playing and hitting. The list goes on and on. Houston, when you look at the loss of Garrett Cole, and I'm looking at that rotation, you got Verlander, you got Zach Greinke. Lance McCullers will be back. Recovering from Tommy John, I believe it was. He missed all of last season. He is going to be back. He's going to be an X factor for them. If they get the Lance McCullers that we're used to seeing, Houston could be right back in the thick of things, and that could make for another great ALCS, assuming that's how it shakes out. But I do give the edge to the Yankees right now. I think their lineup and all the power they bring to the plate, plus having a legit ace out there. Because it's not like the problem with the Yankees starting pitching last season. It wasn't like they were all, bums. It's just you didn't have a clear guy to give the ball to in game one of a series. You're like, well, is it going to be James Paxton? Is it going to be Tanaka? What about Severino? We just didn't know who to rely upon. Garrett Cole is going to be the guy. Everybody else fall in line behind him. I think that matters a great deal. And oh, by the way, you still got a lot of hot flaming Cheetos coming at you out of that bullpen. Them boys bringing the heat. I'm telling you what. But over to the National League, the Dodgers, that heist they pulled off with the Boston Red Sox, them just donating one of the best players in baseball, Mookie Betts, to throw him over there to the Dodgers. Plus, you get David Price, who can come in there and perhaps maybe be your third starter behind the likes of Walker Buehler and Clayton Kershaw. There's a lot to like about that. You got Mookie Betts and you got Cody Bellinger. So you got two MVP candidates in that lineup. Not to mention you throw in guys like Max Muncy, and the list goes on and on with that lineup. Those are your two favorites to me. That's where I'm looking at. Washington and Atlanta, I think they'll be factors as well. But it's going to be tough for a team in either league to knock off the Dodgers or Yankees.
Yo,
Yeah.
I just want to hold on. I just
Yeah,
want
go
to say this. I just gotta say this. Who would have known that we would have been talking about Major League Baseball and sense of urgency in the same, sentence? Like, really? Like, he really said it's gonna be a sense of urgency in Major League Baseball. That's groundbreaking, folks. That's just groundbreaking.
Well, I mean, it was kind of born out of a stalemate anyway, but hey, however you get to the answer is how you get to it. You know, we talked about last week. I said that we would probably wind up with 60 games. I figured this is about what was going to happen. You know, the league, it just didn't seem like the league had any interest to move, and they knew they had this ace in the back pocket. They could just go, all right, you know what, we're done. Here's this reverse Uno card. You know, we're doing this. You know, so I think one thing that's interesting about the MLB restarting, one of the things I keyed in on was the divisional opponents, and then your 20 games being interconference in a geographical area. We are going to get the MLB having actual games where they travel from stadium to stadium. So this is going to be the next evolution. We're talking about, is football going to start? How's that going to look? Well, the NBA is like step one. In a bubble, We're all playing by ourselves. But the MLB is step two. Hey, no fans. We're limiting travel, but we're going to do it. And then, of course, hopefully NFL be step three, full travel. We're doing the thing, and then we might even have fans. But now it looks a little more questionable. But it's interesting that we're going to kind of see the second step of this whole sports coming back thing with the MLB. It's also I wanted to note that the MLB is going to have a separate injured reserve for COVID-19 players. Anyone that gets a test positive will have a separate injured reserve, and there's not going to be like a sort of hard time required to be on it or minimum time before you can come back. It's just going to be, hey, when you're healthy and you're quarantined and you're negative, you can come back. So they'll be able to pull from that big 60-player pool, but they are going to have a separate injured roster for players who test positive as part of their big health and safety thing with all this. And players are going to be tested every other day. You know, I'd also add in real quick, and we're talking about the NBA replacement players, the MLB, and all the COVID stuff. We haven't yet seen either league implement their plans yet. You know, the NBA players still running around doing their own thing. The MLB teams, other than some training camp stuff, they're mostly doing their own thing. So, you know, it looks a little bleak right now with the 16 players in the NBA and all the rising cases, but I think we at least give it a chance for these teams or the leagues to get their teams together, get them under control, and get them kind of corralled up before we start making full decisions of, this ain't going to work or this is definitely going to work. So just kind of a note to keep in the back of your head as we move forward with all this.
Buckets.